Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Borough of Crafton's council meeting for Monday, November 9th, 2020. Next slide. We're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alo,
Here.
Mr. Amendola,
Here.
Mr. Kraus,
Here.
Mr. Crown,
Present.
Mr. Lavasser,
Here.
Ms. Perry,
Here.
Mr. Saba,
Here.
Mayor Bloom,
Here.
Solicitor, Mr. Corbel,
Here.
Engineer, Mr. Mintzman,
Here.
Assistant Manager, Mr. Sample,
Here.
and I am here as well. You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you, and I'm glad we have the meetings come to order. All right. Approval of the bills list for November 9th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All that oppose? Approval of the bill list, thank you. Moving forward to the approval of the minutes for October 26th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Questions about the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All that oppose? All right. Approval of the minutes for October 26th, 2020. Thank you. Citizen comments. Ed, you'll have to let me know who's out there. Citizen comments, please note that all public comments will be heard at the beginning of the meeting due to the online meeting permit. At this time, citizens may address the Borough Council. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Please state your name and physical address for the record.
It looks like we have one person raising their hand. Mary, I'm going to unmute you. Mary, could you state your name and address for the record?
Mary Luxbacher, 71 Dinsmore Avenue. In this month of Thanksgiving, I would like to publicly thank Doug, Dave, and all the Borough crew for their vital work in the preparation and planting of the 14 street trees that we planted last week. As a Tree City USA participant, we are mandated to do so each year. I would also like to thank the homeowners who allowed us to plant street trees on their property. Also, thank you to our volunteers and tree commission members, John, Jim, Kate, and especially Susan Muka, who works tirelessly all year for the trees of Crafton. Additionally, I would also like to thank Rec Board members Liz, Krista, and our chair Jackie for the phenomenal job they did for the haunted tour, and Devon for his tireless work at the mini golf all summer, and especially this past month for the spooky mini golf, helping to raise close to $800 for the food bank. Overall, the Rec Board was able to raise close to $3,000. Thank you to the office staff, Carissima and Catherine, for all their help, and all the tour goers and homeowners and ghost storytellers who participated in this new, hopefully annual fun Crafton event. Crafton should be very proud of all the wonderful volunteers, and be it at the food pantry, the community garden, Rotary, Girls, Boy Scouts, and numerous other community boards and organizations. Thank you so much for always participating. Upcoming Rec Board events include the Holiday Light Celebration, where we are actively soliciting homeowners at this time, and the elves, who will soon be decorating the holiday for the holidays throughout the borough. Please check the Borough website and Citizen Savvy for volunteer opportunities. Thank you again. That's it.
Thank you, Mary. That was wonderful.
Oh, you're welcome.
We thank you. I think Crafton wouldn't be Crafton without you, Mary. You've done a wonderful job over the years, and you continue to do so. And it's a privilege to have you on board to help us. So I really want to show you our gratitude, and hopefully council support through all these different endeavors will continue to show the community that we support the rec board and the members of the different committees that make Crafton what it is today.
We have
Right.
one other, Gregory Wozniak. I'm gonna unmute him. Gregory, could you please state your full name and your address?
My name's Greg Wozniak, and I'm at 1773 Bar Avenue. And my only comment is I wonder if during this meeting, we could get the status of what's going on with the ball fields and the Carleton School District potential reverting that back. Just if you guys could give us a status of where, if there's anything going on. We haven't really heard much, so.
Thank you. Do you have any additional questions?
No, that's it. Just the status.
Okay. So the Borough Council isn't doing anything. You know, we're reviewing the notes from the Planning Commission when they get to us from their events, and at this point we have other priorities for the community. And I think if you look down the order of our agenda, is pretty clear as to what we're focused on at this point. So that's sort of where we are right now. The borough hasn't pursued anything. In addition, at that public meeting, it wasn't shared with everybody that we did have a appraisal done that was shared publicly. And that's sort of like the last action that the Crafton Council has taken. We have a lot of information from the public, and we're going to just pursue the agenda that we have on the table for our infrastructure at this point. All right, Ed.
All right, anybody else that would wish to talk, please use the raise your hand function. Give it a few seconds. Mr. Lavasser, there's nobody with their hands raised at this minute.
Okay, great. With regards to the president's report, I'm going to be fairly brief here. Again, I just want to echo what Mary brought to everybody's attention over the holiday of Halloween. I think it was a very safe turnout shown by the community. There was numerous activities that were COVID friendly, and I know the house tour was received very well. Overall, I think the community is in a good state of affairs. The leadership at the administration building is doing a great job with our public works department, and we are working with the engineering office to ensure that all the grants and applications that we've submitted are in good standing with Alcosan. We've been fortunate to receive numerous grant awards, and we're going to continue to pursue other grants as they become available, and the engineer can add more color to that. And but at this point, we have the completion of the South Grandview project. There's a minor section at the end of South Grandview where it meets Crafton Boulevard that is going to be taken care of by the water company, and the manager is going to just discuss, sort of where we've come and where we're going with the different infrastructure projects over the next coming months. But I hope South Grandview provides a good example to the community as to what council's vision is for the different neighborhoods that we're going to be operating in and improving through the GROW program. And on this agenda, you'll see that we're continuing to stay committed to our investment in this community. So I appreciate everybody from the engineers to every member of council and the entire administration for what they've done to support the community in our endeavors here, especially given the challenging climate that we're operating under. And it's a testament to the commitment that's been shown by everybody at the administration. So we really do applaud everybody because we know this is not an easy year to operate. So my thanks to everyone, and I hope we continue to see good weather. I know the pool liner's going in, and the manager is going to provide an update there as well. So I don't think anybody's going to worry about not having the pool next year. I know that's been on a lot of people's minds, COVID bearing, given that situation. It looks like everything that we've promised is coming to fruition. And then it's only because of the dedicated people that we have working for the borough. So again, thank you all. I'm going to move forth to the mayor's report.
I only had a couple items that I wanted to talk about this evening. One of them you've addressed, the South Grandview Crafton Boulevard area. And the other one I will discuss when it comes up on the agenda. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Engineers report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple updates to the report that we submitted. We are working on reimbursements now for the Grandview project, since that is wrapping up. A couple minor punch list items to work on, but reimbursement now begins. Also, I just wanted to make a note that if you remember the H2O grant program, that was a grant that we applied for and got $250,000 towards the Crafton Boulevard project. Just so you know, that grant program is closed now. They are closing it for 2021. The last time the program was open was back in 2005. It opened back up in 2019 and 20. And now because of COVID, they're not funding the program. So it's just a reminder that when we have the opportunity to strike on grants, we take it, because sometimes there is no tomorrow. And so I guess hindsight's 2020. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that that state program wasn't funded due to COVID, but still, no one knew that at the beginning of the year or when we actually put in for this grant. So anyway, just another success for Crafton. Also, we're going to be having the engineering meeting tomorrow to discuss some additional infrastructure work, looking to do that work through in 2021. So that's it. Things are moving ahead and smoothly without jinxing us.
Thank you, Rick. May I ask you a quick question about the Green Light Go program?
Yes.
When do you see the lights being activated and the removal of the old hardware occurring?
Yes. I don't know, Russ, if that's one of your updates or you want me to answer that?
No, go ahead, Rick. It's fine. Go ahead, please.
Yes, it's essentially they're working with the power company now to provide power to the signals themselves, and then once that power is provided, they'll have to operate for 30 days, and after the 30 days, they'll be turned over to back to the state, they'll be turned over. Is that to the state or to Crafton? I'm drawing a blank now.
They'll be turned over to Crafton.
Yeah.
To Crafton.
Yeah,
okay,
so
that's
30
right.
days
From the
yeah.
contractor. Yeah, thank you. And then the poles, the infrastructure can be removed. So the acceptance is first, and the removal of the existing poles can happen, once the acceptance is there, for some reason, in case it has to go back to the old signals.
Okay. All right. I was just curious, like if they're going to be staying with us through the end of the year, or they're going to be removed before Christmas. I was just curious about timelines, but
Yeah, it could be.
I-
It
Figure
could
next
be.
year.
So it's just a matter of waiting and see how the transition goes.
okay. Thank you. That's all I had on that. Thank you.
Sure.
On to the solicitor's report.
Thanks, Mr. President. Just one quick update from me today. I got a copy of this revision to Chapter 177, our sewers and sewer disposal ordinance that was discussed at the last council meeting, over to Russ today. He's going to upload that to the shared drive if it hasn't already been. I shared this with Mr. Lavasser and Mr. Minsterman, and got a thumbs up from both. So it's there for everybody's consideration. To the extent you'd like it to be adopted before the end of this year, I would suggest that council authorize me to advertise it at the second meeting this month. And there's still time if there's any comments or questions where we can make a tweak or two before December. But I thought in order to push the ball forward, considering a motion to advertise next meeting would be the best way to go. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Manager's report.
Mr. President, most of what I have to report is going to be coming out in the discussion items for a little bit later on in the meeting. However, I do want to point out that there are 4 action items at this meeting. And the reason why they're on the agenda is because they are date sensitive. All 4 of them should be acted upon at this meeting and not waiting until the meeting on the 23rd. And also I'll point out on one of these motions, the bond counsel, Mr. Patrick Healy, was based on a referral from our solicitor. I reached out to Steve and asked him who he thought would be good. And Mr. Healy is well thought of and in the area of bond counsel for municipalities. So that's my report for now. I have a lot to say probably later on. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. So we're going to take care of these action items that we discussed at the budget meeting. So we're going to move forward with a motion to appoint Huntington Capital Markets as bond underwriter for the proposed 2021 bond issue by Crafton Borough.
So moved.
Seconded.
Questions, comments? All right, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, all that oppose?
No.
All right. All right, motion passes. Motion to appoint attorney Patrick Healy from the law firm Brucey Dice and Associates as bond counsel for Crafton Borough.
So moved.
All right. Any questions, comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All that oppose?
No.
All right. Thank you. Motion passes. Motion to publish the enactment of debt ordinance as prepared by bond counsel.
So moved.
Seconded.
All right. Okay. Any questions, comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All that oppose?
No.
All right. Motion passes. And we will go on to make sure I'm looking at this. Okay. Printed out on 2 pages on mine. Motion to adopt 2020-16 and resolution 2020-18 requesting CDBG monies for planned demolition of blighted properties within the borough and a flood reduction project at Duncan and Steuben Streets, and authorizing the Shar West COG as the official to file applications, documents, and forms between Crafton Borough and Allegheny County Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? I'm just going to comment here real quick. Russ and Rick, this Duncan and Steuben, that's to help deal with some of that, the loss of curb reveal on 60, right?
Yeah, there's a large volume of water that flows down from East Crafton all the way down Steuben all the way to the Duncan intersection. And then wipes out over the sidewalk into people's driveways. And yes, this is to help alleviate that issue.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Any other questions? All right. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All that oppose? All right. Motion passes. All right. Let's go to discussion
Aye.
items. What was that? Okay. So that motion passed. The discussion items, project updates, manager, assistant manager, and engineer. So here you go. I guess Russ, you got the floor here.
Okay, I'll start off. Rick gave you an update on certain projects that were in motion or soon to be in motion. The intersection down there at Grandview will be corrected very soon. We had a water leak at the very end where they were paving. So we had to wait for PAWC to come out and fix it. Then that'll be buttoned up very soon. Other than that, that project is completed. The pool is nearly finished. I was down there late this afternoon. The weather has been very helpful, to say the least, move that along. The playground, they're putting in the asphalt for the leveling of the driveway and pouring concrete to have the forms in now. The surface has been complete, and there are people utilizing the stuff on there. It's just kind of tough to get in and out, but that is moving along quite well as well. Green light go, Rick addressed. So not more to say on that. Hopefully it comes across before the holidays. I would like that myself. And outside of that, as far as projects go, that's all I have. I don't know if Doug and or Rick have anything else to add.
Can I ask a question?
Sure. Yes, sir.
Where are we at in the process of the master site development plan grant? And have we, I don't know if we've gotten that agreement in yet, because I know we were talking about getting that in the process pretty quickly over the winter months, having the meetings with the residents and a rec board and all those types of things. I know that there's a big grant, and Rick, you might be able to help me on this, coming out in like April for some of that stuff. So I think that we've got a lot of work to do so we can meet that grant cycle. So does anybody know where we're at?
Well, we did receive $26,000. The acceptance of that will be an action item at the next meeting. And in fact, the next one would be to advertise for people to put in there of why we should hire them to oversee the project. And that will be an action item on the 23rd. But we did receive notice that we got $26,000 to start the process.
Yeah, that's great. So the 23rd will be the authorization to sign the agreement. So we'll sign that. send it back to the grant agency. They say explicitly, don't do anything until you get this agreement signed, and then we have a kickoff meeting with them. So, but I think it makes sense to at least issue or prepare. It'll take a little bit of time, not much, to prepare the request for proposal for the planner, and based on what we want to do. But I think a little prior to that, we talked about a committee, a group of folks that would maybe help develop the request for a proposal, or at least review it, so that we make sure we're asking the consultant specifically what the committee wants done. And then also that committee would then help review and select the planner. So those are some things to be talking about as well. Maybe we'll pull together some ideas for that meeting on the 23rd to see how council wants to handle it. Because there is the option that you just prepare the proposal yourself, get it out there, select the contractor, select the vendor, and then turn it over to implementation with a rec committee.
Yeah, and I didn't put it on here only because I really don't know how it's going to go out, but we do have a meeting scheduled this Thursday at 1:30, a conference call with DCNR. And then at that point, I'm hopefully have a lot more information, but since the meeting's only happening Thursday, there was not much for me to report it tonight.
Yeah, is Denny going to be on that with you?
Yes, I believe so.
Denny Flynn? Great.
Yes.
Perfect then. Okay, and then like I said, then maybe talk a little bit about that committee. I don't think they require any kind of specific interaction. At some point, I think they recommend a committee of folks from Crafton, different avenues. So it's something once maybe after that meeting we could talk a little bit about, or the council could talk a little bit about how they want to direct that.
So we shouldn't advertise anything, or we need to advertise and solicit input from the community. We should wait until the grant has been executed.
We're getting a little ahead of ourselves in the process. We'll need to get the paperwork settled with DCNR, and as
Okay.
Manager McKibben had mentioned, that we're going to have that kickoff meeting. So so more to come on this, but obviously it's a project that we want to fast track. So we will definitely be doing that.
Okay.
Grant
Great.
that Mike and I was going to say the grant that Mike was talking about is the accompanying grant that goes with it, the DCNR. It's the construction side of this. So we're not going to have the complete plan done by April, but we think that we'll be able to generate some projects or a project that we can then request funding, and usually projects, construction projects that are in the plan, in the program, have a high rate of funding. So if we miss April, we got to wait a whole nother year. So the idea is if we can work the plan, come up with some recommended projects, then apply for that in the April grant for construction funding. That's why we're fast tracking. If we didn't want to provide if we didn't want to put in for those grants, the construction grant in April, then we have plenty of time. But it just seems like, once again, if you have the opportunity to get some grant money, try to make it work.
I have a few questions. So the first question is in regards to this grant. So, because from my understanding, it's going to involve community members, the rec board, as well as the planning commission. When is appropriate to at least let those groups of folks know, so that way, we can have representation, start to somewhat form a planning committee, so that way when all the paperwork and everything's done, we can basically hit the ground running and just hit go.
Doug, you're on mute.
Yeah. So I think, Anthony, that yes, again, we have the kickoff meeting, and then, we've already got an active rec board, like the pieces are there.
Okay.
You'll probably want to have, I mean, yourself is on there and maybe one other member of council to be part of that committee. So, I mean, it's almost, I mean, the beautiful thing here is that the committee structure is already laid. We don't have to do that.
Okay, great.
It's
There's only
really
reason
just
I-
getting the ink, the ink on the paper, and that way the expenditures will all be approved. We just got to get the paperwork addressed.
Great, because I know the rec board has a meeting tomorrow, and they've been working on their on the wish list from the rec.
And I think you definitely talk to them tomorrow and say, hey, this is coming down the pike. We'll have the rec board and we might, and again, like 2 council members, and then maybe anybody else that you might think is a stakeholder in the group. You know, we'll go from there.
Awesome. And then the other question is, I know a lot of folks have been asking about the playscape, and I know they're still doing work. Is it safe for folks to be on the playscape, or where does that stand? Because I know they're still doing work and they just poured some of the material down.
I mean, it is an active construction zone.
Okay.
So officially, and it's staked that way that the playscape is closed. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay. Great, because I know a lot of folks were asking whether or not they're able to, they wanted a status update, so that way they know whether or not to take their kids down.
Well, we're advising people that it is still closed because of the construction that's going on. If your question as to whether or not that playscape can be used, the answer is yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but
It's enter at your own risk, essentially.
well, I think the borough's official position is it's not open, but it is that the play surface is in place, so that phase is complete. And then I'm sure once construction is completed, the manager will post it to the website and to Savvy Citizen and get all the rec people informed of that. So I think that's how we should handle that. We'll just make a blast out to the community, let them know when they're done. Okay.
If I could, I just strongly encourage you to make sure it's appropriately marked so folks know and they have reason to. I'm sure it is, but if folks are sort of ignoring that, just make sure it's communicated and it's clear at the site that it's not for use. Just from a liability perspective.
Understood.
Okay. Waste management contract extension.
This will be an action item on the 23rd. 6 years ago, 2015, a five-year deal was signed with Waste Management that called for a 3% increase each year. And then in addition, they offered 5 option years covering 2020 through 2024. That option year was invoked last year by council. And the option year for 2021 that does carry a 3% increase like all the other ones is something that we need to decide whether we are going to do or not do before the end of this year.
Okay, Anthony, your hand's raised.
So where do we, in regards to the contract, because I know that our surrounding communities have different contracts, how do we fare up? Because I remember we briefly had this conversation with our contract when code first started. Just so that way, does it behoove us to extend versus looking at a new contract?
We'd have to put it out for bid. Not necessarily the smoothest process in the world, and there, quite frankly, isn't that many vendors that can handle it. As far as comparison goes, it's a little tough because we have alley pickups. Some communities do not. Some people don't have the recycling that we have. So comparing apples to apples is a little difficult because every community is different on what services they're getting. But my recommendation would be to stay where we're at, because I don't think that process of bidding this out is not only time consuming, but more than likely you're not going to get too many people jumping up and putting bids in.
And I want to piggyback off that. Yeah, now is not the time to go out for any sort of bid. With the pandemic, where we've got a bid locked in, they're accepting the recyclables. Let's just stay the course, and I think we can do a more comprehensive look into it for the next option here. But right now, just, I mean, it would be my recommendation just to approve that
Stay
option.
put, punt it to next year.
Yeah, because I think they take glass from us, but not some of the South Hills communities.
That is correct.
Okay. Does anybody else on council have a comment on the waste management contract? All right. Hearing no other comments, I'm going to move forward to the cable franchise agreement with Verizon. Manager McKibben.
This is a renewal of a 10-year agreement that is expired. It's been under negotiation since the beginning of the year. An agreement has finally been put together. This is a 5-year agreement with Verizon. I strongly suspect that based on their arguments and based on the fact that some of it is true, that our revenue from this is going to go down. People are buying Fire Sticks and watching Hulu and Netflix. And a lot of people have gotten rid of their cable carrier because they don't need it. But this is the deal that was negotiated by a firm out of Philadelphia with Verizon. And basically, we just need to approve it as such. I don't think you're going to get a better one. And I'll let Steve comment on that if he wants to.
Russ is right. I mean, long term, those revenues, they were a panacea for municipalities many years ago, but they won't be moving forward. Everyone's cutting the cord, and the deal that was negotiated isn't a bad one. I think it's something you just move forward with at this point and plan for the long term as to how you might replace those revenues or live without them.
Right.
Do we have an idea of what that revenue equates to by any chance?
I don't have the budget with me here at the house, but I think it's, I want to say it's about $150,000 or $160,000 right now.
Okay.
But where it's going to be, I don't think anybody knows, just because of the fact that the utilization of cable TV as we know it is becoming less and less.
Yeah, sorry. We cut the cord, so.
Yeah, we budgeted 100,000 for next year. We're at 73 this year, so it's going to be a slow decline. Over the next 5 to 10 years, that this number will keep going down and down.
All right, thank you. Anthony, do you have an additional question?
Yep, all good. Thank you.
Okay. Police service agreement with Thornburg Borough, and I think the mayor was going to chime in here too, right?
Well, I was just wondering where you are with that. That's what I was going to ask.
Okay, Mayor, I'll tell you where we're at. For some of you that may not know, we had a 3-year agreement with to supply police services for Thornburg Borough that expires at the end of this year. Again, that's why it's an action item. They are very pleased and happy with the service. There's no doubt about that. But this is everybody's got COVID concerns, and I think we all understand that. But it's also a revenue stream I think that we should not lose, and we supply a valuable service to a neighboring municipality. With that said, I would recommend another 3-year agreement, but keeping it at the same price that it was in 2020. And that number is, as I'm trying to find it, it's right in front of me, $98,312.04.
And I would agree with that. The service that we provide the municipality doesn't affect the Crafton services provided. The way I said before, we could just lump that into just one big community, and we got plenty, great police coverage there through both Crafton and Thornburg.
Thank you, Mayor. Anthony, your hand's raised.
I think we should just move forward with it as is. There's really no sense in changing it. They're doing an excellent job, and it's a very fair revenue stream for us as well.
All right. Anybody else on council have any comments?
Mr. Lavasser, I'm in agreement, so I don't think there's really much more to discuss on it.
That's a mine.
All right.
When do we need to vote on this by?
It can be on the agenda at the end of the month, right?
Yeah, so it'll be an action item for the 23rd, yes.
Right. Fred, your hand's raised.
I was just gonna say, let's move forward with it, but if you have plans to move forward in 2 weeks, that's good. If you want.
Okay. All right. We're all in agreement on this then. All right, great. I'm going to move to the next topic. Final payment to Youngblood Paving for $42,046.33. That's for the 2020 road program, correct?
Right, that is correct. I'm going to move all three of the next things into the same because they're all pretty much, I'll just comment briefly. Yes, that's the final payment for the 2020 road program. I thought they did a very good job, quite frankly. The second one is a Green Light Go, a major bill for the services performed so far by M&B. These need to be approved so that we can get our back end money on the grant for this. And that's also going to be the case for the next one to Sports and Recreation Associates. That's for the work that has been completed down at the Crafton Park and a little bit at Linden. Again, once we get these payments approved, then we can go backwards and get our reimbursement for the grant monies. So all three are the same, in the same ballpark, and they'll all three be separate action items on the 23rd.
Okay. Fred, your hand's raised.
I'm okay.
Oh, okay. I'm going to lower it. Anthony?
So just my question is for the outside the Youngblood, so for the M&B services for Green Light Go and the Sports and Rec, now are these part of the full amount that will be reimbursed, or are we going to get partial reimbursement?
For the park, it's going to be full. For the Green Light Go, top of my head, I think it's 85%.
Okay. And is there like a time frame once this is paid that we get reimbursed, or we're just on the mercy of the state and county?
Whenever the state decides to send us the check.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Hey, Rick, what's your experience with the reimbursements on Green Light Go? How's PennDOT on that?
I can speak to that. We have already
Okay.
filed with Green Light Go on certain other payments, but not anything this large. And frankly, they've been excellent. I'm very surprised. It's been about a 30-day turnaround, which really surprises me. But I can only speak to Green Light Go. That's it.
Okay. All right. Since we sort of covering those three items there, Manager, do you want to touch base on anything else?
I can jump ahead to the grant agreements with Alcosan.
Sure.
These are also two action items, as you was mentioned before. I don't know if Rick mentioned it or not, but we received a grant for $2,647,000 on an approved project cost of $3.731 million, roughly 71%. Excuse me, the borough match will be 29%. And then we also received another grant from Alcosan of $2,072,000 and change on a $2,438,000 project at Woodlawn and Fountain. Alcosan has sent us the official agreements. It needs to be authorized and signed within 45 days. That's why it needs to be an action item on the 23rd. Once we have that approval by council, we can then sign the necessary papers and tell them, yes, we agree, we'll take the money and we'll do the projects. And basically, in a nutshell, that's what this is.
Okay.
Mr. President, one thing to add to that that's related while we're on the topic. That's okay.
Okay.
We'll be meeting later this month with Alcosan to discuss the next round of projects and presenting them the details, the flow reductions and the percentages. That'll be, I can't remember what it is. It's to the end of the month or beginning of December. I'm not sure, Russ, if you know when the date is, but in any event, that's where we'll talk about the projects being proposed for next year and get their input and advice on that. And then the applications will be due, late spring next year for the awards that, for next year that we just received this year. So they come in about October, November on the next set of projects.
And that would encompass the Brawhead project and the Crafton Park project that they proposed to us.
Is it Borough? Yes, that's right. Those two projects, right?
Okay. Any comments, questions from council on that item? I'm hearing none. The building restoration, Russ.
Yeah, I guess I'm just looking for a little input from council on this. You may remember many months ago, pre-COVID, we put an application into the Redevelopment Authority of Allegheny County for gaming money to rehab the municipal building. At that time, the ask was $392,000. I mean, we threw everything but the kitchen sink out there, and maybe even a kitchen sink. But the good news is we got $180,000, which was more than I ever thought we would get. Obviously, some of the things that I put into the grant are going to have to be paired out. But some of the more important ones I thought was a sandblasting and pointing and repair of the sandstone building. That would be priority one. I would say carpeting, painting, et cetera, are high priorities. I would say replacing the steam boiler that we have now that sometimes you hear in the background if you're on the phone with me. Replace that with a hot water system, and we'll get some prices on that. And that will probably eat up the $180,000. But there may be a little bit more expenses. You may want something in addition, but there's no match here. So right now, the borough's contribution as it stands is going to be zero to get a lot of these projects done. But just looking for some ideas if people agree with that, or is there something else that's a priority for council that I'm not aware of?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, when do you need us to go out and advertise or get an RFP out there for the stonework? I know you got some telephonic quotes earlier before we got the grant. I think we know we need to move quicker on the exterior to protect the interior. So what do you need from us? Do we need to have an action item at the end of the month to?
I'll let you know. The representative that oversees these grants, oversees a few of our grants. We'll be having a meeting together to review how they want to proceed. But yes, it very well could be an action item to have Gateway help us and put an RFP together for a bid, because the initial price on that I received as a quote only, because you couldn't get anything when COVID hit, was approximately right around $100,000. So it's obviously a bid item, but I'll have more information to you before the next meeting, and if it's on there, you'll know that's what we need to do. How's that?
Okay, thanks. Anthony, your hand's raised.
So the question I have, so is this just the borough building, or does it include the entire complex?
It did include entire complex to some degree. But some of the things are going to have to be cut out if we're going to keep it at 180,000 and not put any municipal money into it.
Okay. So I think on this, we definitely need to, the building needs some love, it needs some structural core bones of the building, I think really should be addressed. So like you said, the heating system, the stonework, the stuff that's really going to compound and cause other issues. But I really do think also, I would love to hear what else you have in your wish list. So that way, when we're having these budget meetings, because I'm a big fan of, not just so to say half-assing things. If we're going to do this, let's do it right, get it done. This building is historic. It's part of the fabric of Crafton, and we should do it justice and take care of it and really bring it up to, 2020 and 2021 and really give it the attention that it deserves.
I agree, 100%. One of the larger items that is in there that is not going to be funded at this point totally actually involves the library, and I would like to discuss that maybe at an executive session when that topic comes up. It's probably going to come up at the next meeting before the next meeting, because I think the solicitor will probably have some information on that as well.
Okay. Brad, your hand was raised? You still there, Brad?
No, my
Okay.
hand's not raised. It's
Oh. Okay. All right. All right. Update to stormwater ordinance.
I think the solicitor addressed it at his initial comments, but if there's anything more, Steve, maybe you may want to say anything that.
No, I don't have anything. I don't have anything else. I mean, I think folks should read it, and if you have questions, you can reach out to me. You don't have to wait for 2 weeks or whatnot.
Okay. Steve, do you, with regards to the library, do you want to have an exec session after this meeting, or do you want to do it the next meeting? How do you want to go about handling that?
Well, why don't I circulate revisions, and then you can schedule it whenever it's convenient for council,
Okay.
whether that's before or after the next meeting or sometime in between.
Okay. And then Manager McEwen, are there any other action items that we have to have with regards to the bond process? Is all the items, milestones that we had to achieve for this meeting were achieved, and do we have any other actions at the business meeting?
The only other action you're going to have at the business meeting is actually a motion to publish the debt ordinance.
Okay.
Well,
right.
there'll also be several ordinances on there too that we advertise. I thought that was for the 23rd. That's the right, the equal opportunity ordinance, the UCC ordinance, the property maintenance code ordinance, and the chickens.
Yes.
Urban chickens.
Yes. Yeah, they'll be cut. We discussed them last meeting, and they'll be ready for action on the 23rd. That is
Okay.
correct.
And they all get posted on the web?
They will all be in the agenda. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I don't see any other discussion items from council. Didn't see anything come in. I'm going to move forward with community announcements. The borough office will remain closed to the public. However, staff is available during business hours and can be reached via telephone or email. There is a drop box in the rear of the building for any written correspondence. Any changes to this action will be posted on the borough website and Savvy Citizen. And I just wanted to actually say thank you to Chief Sumter, who is our EOC on this, and he's been our EMC. He's been doing a great job keeping council updated with all the information coming from Allegheny County, and with regards to the COVID incident rates. There's been some upticks in the Northeast, and that hasn't escaped Pittsburgh. So we're staying apprised if there's any changes to our operations. We'll definitely let the community know, and to stay posted to Savvy Citizen and to the web. But again, as we go into the holidays, we want to stress social distancing and being, wise with, who we're congregating with and trying to keep things limited to minimize the spread and to slow the spread. So again, that's a community activity. And as we saw with Halloween and all the other activities, I think the community's been doing a very nice job of that. So again, I applaud Chief Sumter for keeping the council and the administration informed, and to everybody, taking these regulations very seriously. The Crafton Library is open with COVID-19 safety limitations Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., Tuesday, Thursday, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. The rec board would like to thank everyone organized and participated in the haunted Crafton tour, as well as the generous donations for the Crafton Ingram Food Bank. Also, a reminder, the Crafton Celebration of Lights will begin on December 4th. Information on how to participate can be found on the website. So it's very good to hear that our volunteers are staying engaged and keeping the holiday spirit as we move into the Thanksgiving holiday in the
So
next
real quick,
couple weeks. Yep.
Quick on this. So the celebration of lights, we are asking for houses that would like to participate in the celebration of lights. So it's going to be somewhat similar to the haunted Crafton. So I know a lot of folks found out after the fact. So anybody that would like to participate, please go to the website and sign up as soon as possible. Also, we will be having a rec board meeting to discuss this as well as other items. If anybody would like to attend tomorrow at 7 p.m. via Zoom.
Okay. And then did you guys get that posted on the website?
There
and,
is-
Savvy?
The Crafton Celebration Lights is on the website.
Okay. And then
Station did go
and
out.
Mike, can we have that updated on the or could you post that on the firehouse bulletin board as well?
Yeah, if somebody just sends me over what you want on the sign, I'll make sure it gets up on that sign.
All right. And Mike, I know we're starting a community announcement. This is how's that fire truck coming along?
So we did go up a couple weeks ago for the pre-paint, went through paint last week. It's in the final finish shop. So they're saying somewhere either Friday before Thanksgiving or the Friday after Thanksgiving for a delivery date.
So do you think Santa is going to be making a ride through town on a new fire truck?
That may happen. I have to just check to make sure that everything's going to be kosher. But once it comes in, don't forget there's going to be some driver's training, some training on the truck that may take some time. But if there's people, trained on it, should be making that trip.
And I do believe Santa Claus will be in Crafton on December 4th.
Oh, excellent.
Actually, the fire department's one is Mayor Bloom. Do you remember the date? Is it the 21st?
I thought it was the 16th, which is a Saturday before Christmas.
Well, I know there's a lot of people excited about Christmas this year and the New Year, so I'm sure that's something everybody will be looking for, is a turning of the calendar to 2021. So
And December 19th is the date.
December 19th.
And I do real quick, President Lavasser, just to everybody know on council that the SCBA purchase, the equipment was in, our members were trained, and all the brand new SCBA that the borough purchased is now in service. And it's doing a nice job, very updated, very modern, all the safety features for the members. So the fire department wishes to thank the council for that purchase.
Yeah, and we thank you on your leadership on that. And I think with your new turnout gear that you have there, it probably couldn't have come in a better time, given that those guys don't have to share masks or do any of that. It's a very impressive system that you guys updated to. So it's nice.
Again, it can't come without council's input, so we do appreciate that.
You're very welcome. So, all right. The budget season, pardon me, the budget seasons, the budget sessions will reconvene on Wednesday, November 18th at 7 p.m. and will continue on the same day and time each week until after further notice. Login information will be on the website and Savvy Citizen before each session. Have we had any executive sessions or anything that I have to announce? I don't think we have. We just had the budget meeting the previous week, correct?
You did have an executive session before the budget meeting last Wednesday.
Okay, there we go. All right, just wanted to make sure I got that out there. All right. All right, well, thank you very much, everyone. Hope you have a safe rest of the week, and the administration will be touching base with
Public comment.
everybody. Oh, no, pardon me?
Oh, just any public comment, or do we not?
No, we
public
did
comment
at
from
the
beginning
beginning of the
there,
meeting.
Doug.
Oh, just at the beginning, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, just at the beginning. All righty. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Okay.
Bye.